Humility. Understanding the most hardest thing you could ask for is, please help me. I'm going to talk about Uncle Chuck, the way of the warrior, Ogchidaa. Ogchidaa means warrior in Anishinaabe. Introduce you to Uncle Chuck's eagle staff, McGeezy. As you see, the mouth is open. That means we're supposed to speak. We're supposed to speak for the people, to the people. Uncle passed on in 2007. He served in Vietnam, now, along with my father, my stepdad, my sister, my brother. We came from this sense of service where it came from inside of us. I don't know why, but there was this inner purpose, right? So Uncle dedicated. So sorry for the choke up here. Ultimately, this time of the warrior, he walked that path with honor and respect, love. This time of growth, starting from 1969, Uncle Chuck was involved in an incident with a grenade where he was blown up. And in doing so, shrapnel inside his left arm, his right arm, and his eardrum. Well, he ultimately came back home after going to a Japanese hospital and getting healing from malaria and his wounds. So we were definitely blessed to see his Ogchidaa way, the way he walked out the warrior way, to serve his country. It was a blessing for everybody in our family because of his challenges, and he overcame those triumphs. What I mean by that is he didn't know. He just had this sense of purpose inside of him. He grew. He grew so quickly, and blessing us as a whole nation. So, and he's proud of that. But I learned from him the most by watching him. What he did, he went to Wisconsin, Minnesota, these other Anishinaabe ways to learn how to walk. Because of the Mount Pleasant, Michigan, the Mount Pleasant Indian Industrial Boarding School, great-grandpa, great-grandma, grandfather, and grandmother lost our ways because they took our language, our culture, our history, who we are as a being. We lost our skills, our abilities. So Uncle had this greater service inside of him to go do this service for our country. So Native Americans have a rate of 19% to serve in the military, the armed forces, 5% greater than the other races. He was honored. He was honored to do this. And I kind of wanted to follow in his tracks after having 5 other family members do that. I wasn't able to do that because I respected my wishes of my elders. They told me not to serve. I did a different route. A couple years later, I ended up joining law enforcement, 10 years as a police officer, a 10-year as a conservation officer. That's where I found myself in joy in my Ogchidaa way too, watching our Anishinaabe people from the Odawa country serving, living out their passion up north. Well, the tribe here has not learned. We haven't quite learned to live in our passion again. It's because of that boarding school. So that time that it did work. The motto of the boarding school is, kill the Indian, save the man. So Uncle never learned. Grandpa never taught him. Grandpa was asked by great-grandpa, do you want to know the ways of the Anishinaabe? Grandpa said no. There was 5 siblings. 2 said yes, 3 said no. And I don't regret, I have empathy for him because I have understanding that these things happen for a reason. It was to assimilate the Anishinaabe people. Prior to this time frame of 1855, there was a sign on Ojibwe Island in Saginaw that read, Here's where we gathered up the Ojibwe people and brought us here to Isabella Reservation. So that time, where are we being moved from? We're moved to the swamps here. So we're right here in Isabella Reservation, which is 2/3 of the county. So later, as a police officer, I got to realize, understand, working with Anishinaabe people, we're a little bit different. They'll go, when you come talk to them, they'll ask, who are your relatives? Who are your ancestors? Who you're related to? And that's how a conversation would start. And so I was blessed to learn that here, but also blessed to have worked in the conservation up north for the northern tribes. The highlight of that was, the gentleman's name is Patrick Naganash. I'm working as a conservation officer. There's like all these 10 to 30 people at Bear River. They're fishing, and here comes Patrick. Patrick comes down. I'm here. He's announcing to these people, I'm here to spear my 5 fish, and I'll be out of the way. I'm spearing it for my family. But not only that, it was for feast. It was for future harvest. It was for the people, and he definitely blessed people. What he learned from his fathers, his ancestors. That was the difference. We were displaced from Saginaw, Bay City, Flint, Saginaw, the Swan Creek. There's 3 different bands of our people. And so ultimately, Patrick had that passion. He did harvest those fish, whether it be steelhead or salmon, different times of the year down at the Bear River. I learned so much, learning the sacred places of harvesting the sweetgrass, other places of morels where the blessings that were so many. It was just hunting, fishing, and gathering. That was the circle of life. And then I understood, this is the way of the warrior. This is the Ogchidaa right there. How did I miss this all along? And that's where I was blessed to be able to learn from Uncle Chuck, where he reconnected with our Odawa roots. So Uncle Chuck learned from Joe Mitchell, and at the fire is a place where teachings happen. And that's where the sharing of knowledge would happen, where Uncle, myself, and Joe, that's where the stories would come out. So ultimately, when he passed in 2007, I'm at his fire. So we have a fire to tell stories, the good stories, the way he lived, and that's the beauty of our Anishinaabe ways, are to share. So chiefs, fire keepers, medicine men, all these leaders of the community would come and talk about Uncle Chuck. And I had the fire at my house. So I got to hear all these beautiful things. I didn't know what. So come full circle, after watching him, seeking out his path, go to Wisconsin, Minnesota to learn his Ojibwe side, when he learned from the Odawa as well. It completed his circle, because we're both tribes. So we're very fortunate. So at the fire, I would hear of the Eagle staff, McGeezy. He would come and borrow the bass. So the chief of the tribe would talk about this bass and how Uncle would take his staff. So Uncle represented the people. As you can see, he was a paratrooper. It has this eagle feather on here. It has this where you put your hand and where you would walk with it. The eagle staff never touches the ground. And that's what it represents, the strength of the Ogchidaa. McGeezy, the eagle, is a leader, speaks for the people. When there's a storm, the eagle rides above it. That's the vision. That's the guidance. He was being guided with love. And the teachings were coming to him. So that's how you know when someone's walking in a Anishinaabe way, when they're walking the good road. We say the word Mino Bismazawin is the good life. And that's what I get to teach in the schools to the kids. I get to teach them the grandfather teachings. You have truth, you have wisdom. And in the middle is bravery, love, respect, honesty, and humility. Those are the grandfather teachings. They're pretty sacred, they're blessing, and I'm so fortunate to spend time with our youth in the school. And I reflect on our ways of our ancestors. And I reflect on Uncle Chuck and those times when I got to work outside in the Great Lakes. I too had a struggle, a perfect storm, where I struggled. There was 5 incidents happening in 4 months. So I had a death of my father, and then I had a ending of a marriage for 13 years. A guy went into great detail, he's going to kill me. I'd worked undercover and on the narcotics team, and I'm used to death threats, but this guy was a little bit different. Mental health issues, needed help. I handled it like I would normally would as an officer, but he meant it. And ultimately, I verbal judo. I gave a verbal threat, and ultimately, I lost my career because of that, being honest. But I went up the chain of command ethically. And that bothered me because I didn't do anything wrong. It was something that, so ultimately, those struggles taught me to love. It taught me to have empathy, because I had that lens, the law enforcement lens. When you're in the law enforcement, your days and nights, you got fight or flight, and that's what happens. You lose track. And I lost track of love, and I wish that I learned now, but I'm able to give back in a better way. So I'm thankful for that, because that's part of the teachings I just mentioned, the honor and respect. That's the reason I went into that field, and I was able to get back. So I came full circle too, like Uncle Chuck. And ultimately, I had my echo of love for my community. I got to learn, and now I get to do the same thing back here. I'll bring in the hides and the stories and blessings to our community. I have one ask: to give honor and respect to the treaties of the 574 tribes, and that will establish trust. This trust that has been broken over time due to the broken treaties, that we need to honor those. Before Michigan was even a state, 1819 was the Treaty of Saginaw, 1836. It was a majority of the state was treaty out. There was probably 12 tribes, but those tribes gave those treaties to Michigan itself because the government had to cede the land, and then immediately the land was taken from the Anishinaabe people, unfortunately. So it's not a heavy, but we asked that if people could help tell that story to their local legislators, or learn about the treaties themselves. The story of the G-Man, the 14 people. I'm sorry, the four tribes, the 4 directions. We have the yellow, the red, the black, and the white. All of us growing together, and that's unity. That's the ending story I would like to see us have for our Anishinaabe history. Oops, sorry. So with that, miigwech, bamapi, means I'll see you again.